Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Hey, it's Todd in the Shadows, your favorite internet music guy in the shadows, the only one who does it like that for some reason. Um. Yeah. So last night's Grammys. You may or may not know that I have a podcast, Song versus Song. Me and my co-host Dany do like a little debate about like which is a better song, Bodak Yellow or Truth Hurts, stuff like that. So if you wanted to check us out, check out that episode. That'd be good. Uh, but we also do Grammy coverage since we started this. We started this, last year. We did Grammy coverage there, and we were going to do it again. And I'm putting this one up on YouTube. So if anyone wants to know what I thought about the Grammys last night, me and him are going to, talk about it. Before that, I also added a new tier on Patreon at the $4 level where I talk about whatever song I feel like covering that I have not yet covered on the show. I just wrote something about Carly Rae Jepsen's Run Away With Me, so that'll be like a monthly essay you get at the $4 level. So if you want to know my thoughts about that and various other things, I'll pump out one of those every month. And yeah, that's it. If you wanted to toss me some money, toss some money to the podcast, which has its own separate Patreon, you can do that. Yeah, that's about it. Here's what we thought about the Grammys. We're doing this?
We're doing it.
Oh, welcome to a Song versus Song podcast bonus episode. This is also going on YouTube, so hi everyone on YouTube. Hi everyone listening on podcast, wherever you are. We are recording this 3 seconds after the Grammys stopped, and it is 11:30 at night. This is exhausting. Song versus Song is not supposed to be work, but this is absolutely work, having to sit through 3.5 hours of the Grammys.
Brought to you by CBS All Access, Yamaha, and the death of Kobe Bryant. What the fuck?
Okay. When I began today, I thought I was going to have to talk about the big cloud hanging over the Grammys, and I am instead talking about a different cloud hanging over the Grammys. That, of course, being the death of Kobe Bryant, literally just, at this point, 8 hours ago. And that completely threw the Grammys out of whack.
Look, maybe history will look back on me poorly. However, that the entire ceremony opens with a performance by Lizzo, and Lizzo says, "This night is for Kobe." And honestly, to tell you the truth, if that was where it stopped, I would have felt like that's respectful. You don't need to hang a lantern on it. This family is suffering. Let them be. And I would have felt good about it. And yet throughout the night, they kept bringing him up. And every time they did it, I got a little more, to be perfectly frank, annoyed. Not because I'm like, I get it, he's dead. I get it, you feel sad. It was like, I can't tell. I'm not that family. I couldn't. Maybe the outpouring of support made them feel good. But like, there is that saturation point where I get nervous about
how the family's taking this. Like, I would feel weird at that point. Like,
I couldn't tell you.
I certainly wouldn't care. It's too fresh. It's happened literally today.
Yeah, I guess it's just putting myself in those shoes. I think I would feel so numb that I wouldn't be able to process it at all. But I might later feel a little resentful, and maybe that's just me projecting what my own feelings would have been. But I felt like Lizzo said a thing at the top, and then Alicia Keys said another thing, and I thought, we got it. We did it. Let's just let those people be. And yet it kept coming up throughout the night. And I wish personally that it hadn't.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, Kobe Bryant is an icon.
I agree.
He died today. They were doing it in the Staples Center, which is his home stadium. If, he's very important to the city of LA where they were doing this. Like, in as much as LA can have hometown heroes, that, Kobe was one of them. So, like, on one sense, I get it. It still struck an extremely weird note because they kept doing it throughout the entire segment. They had a memoriam to a completely different person. They had a memorial to Nipsey Hussle, who was tragically murdered earlier this last year. And when they finished it, they had slapped up a picture of Kobe Bryant next to his picture. It was so awkward. It was amazingly weird.
I'm absolutely willing to accept that history may...
Yeah, we may look like complete assholes tomorrow when we post this. Who knows? But
it's entirely possible. I don't know. But in the moment, I found myself thinking, I don't know that this is really how it ought to be.
Yeah.
That's it. Anyway, let's let that be the only thing we say about that.
Okay, well, the thing I thought I was going to be talking about was the fact that the Grammys have been embroiled in controversy for the past few weeks because they fired their CEO for unspecified abuse of power. That's not entirely been clear. She hit them with a countersuit alleging that they were firing her to cover up the corruption that she was trying to expose or cleanse. Also, a sexual harassment was in there. I've heard that's why Taylor Swift dropped out at the last moment. Because
really?
Yeah, I've heard these are rumors. Maybe I shouldn't even be saying them.
What does that mean? She dropped out specifically because of what?
Sexual harassment.
By this woman?
No, by the people who fired her. Like she was threatening to expose sexual harassment or something like that, or get people fired. It's been, for the first time, people cared about the Grammys, but I don't know. There was it was a humongous mess, and I thought that's what I was going to be talking about. And it seems entirely irrelevant watching the ceremony because, one, they didn't bring it up. Also because, two, who cares about the Grammys or what goes on behind the scenes in it?
I don't know the not cynical version of...
Yeah.
I just always thought that most of these awards were bought anyway.
Exactly.
So
I guess, but I think less blatantly than it was done with the Grammys. Like you have actual, what she is alleging is that actual artists were able to vote on who becomes a nominee, including themselves, so they could nominate themselves or, their agents or their, people who have invested in these people's careers, people who are not, they have conflicts of interest. So, and they're able to pick this. And, who knows how this works. Maybe she did abuse power. I have no clue how this is going on, but it was a weird thing. And if it affected the Grammys at all, it's that these Grammys, this ceremony was a mess. It was a mess. There were several technical things, none as bad as the infamous Metallica Lady Gaga performance, which will go down in history as one of the worst moments in Grammy history. But it did feel a lot more ramshackle.
I think that last year when we covered the Grammys, there were moments, and I feel like there were a couple of them that we both agreed were these really, really big ones that we were...
Big moments?
Big moments from the Grammys that were great. Really big moments.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas comparatively, these ones, it just felt like every time they went to commercial, they would say, coming up next, a big Grammy moment.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It's like, do you ever hear someone say, I'm a nice person? Nobody who's a nice person has to say that. And if you have to keep saying a Grammy, it's like,
yes,
that it's not going to be good. But that being said, can you pick out we can go over things on the whole, but do you want to pick out if there was anything in particular that you think actually stands out from the night?
Okay. The first thing that comes to mind, big night for gay rappers.
Yeah, you and I both had that thought.
Yes.
Because they basically had two people in a row kind of come out and do stuff. Because you had Tyler, the Creator,
and
then Lil Nas X at the same time, pretty much one right after the other.
I think you're misremembering that. Tyler, the Creator played early, and then he won an award later, and then right after he won the award,
Lil Nas X came out and then performed.
Yeah, and
then I said, wow, would you ever in your lifetime when you were younger have thought...
When I was Lil Nas X's age?
Would you have ever suspected that two black men rappers would win awards or perform on the Grammys in a row that were both gay? It's like a taboo within a taboo, or it was for a really long time. So that felt nice.
Yeah. When I was Lil Nas X age, I'm not that old, but
yes, I'll say it. When I was Lil Nas X age,
it was rappers at all getting big awards were they didn't even have their own category for a while until 1989, and they weren't shown on stage. And I don't even know when the first rapper got to perform on stage. So I mean, not when I was 20 like Lil Nas X, but when I was 5, when I was 10, that would seem like a weird thing. Let alone two rappers who are gay, or Tyler's never, I don't think, specified exactly what he is, but
But that he is somewhere
Yeah.
on the queer spectrum.
Yeah, he's on the rainbow somewhere. We should talk about the performances. Tyler, before he won Best Rap Album, he performed with Boyz II Men and Charlie Wills. He performed Earthquake, which was going to be, I thought he was going to perform that because that's like the quote unquote hit. Not that it was actually a hit, but it was the hit. And then he switched it up to like, I think, I haven't listened to this album in a while, but it was like the weirdest, most aggressive and most, offensive song on the album, sonically offensive to, if you're a boring Grammy voter. Like, I couldn't believe I was like watching this at the fucking Grammys. I could just imagine like Clive Davis, his decrepit 95-year-old self in the back row wondering what the hell he was watching.
I just like that there were a bunch of very suburban-looking houses on fire.
Yeah.
So that as he was doing that, I could go, burning down the house.
But, like, yes, suburban houses burning down is exactly how it felt like watching Tyler perform that. That was by far my favorite performance of the night.
Oh, really? That's your number one?
Yes.
It was good.
It
was exceptional.
Yeah, and him falling down at that pit at the end, I really like that too. That was a pretty cool moment. I think that's going to be my number one moment of the night. And the other one we were talking about, and my number two performance of the night was Lil Nas X. Yeah, I would say it. Lil Nas X, Old Town Road.
You and I have different 1 and 2s, both.
I don't know, like Old Town Road, I think at like week 3 of its 19-week run, or whatever it was already like an embedded pop culture event. Like, it was like nailed on. It was like part of the culture at this point. It was like a thing we all had to talk about. And that was in May or April even. So like at this late date, it didn't feel like there was much else to do with it. So, but he has never performed it live on television, they said, and I believe it. At the MTV Awards, he did Panini.
He did. So, that's true.
So I like that for this one, we're just going to throw every remix I've thrown out there, and we're just going to add a few more. It's going to be like a big celebration of this weird ass moment in pop culture. And they brought BTS out there, which was insane but amazing. And then they brought out Billy Ray. No, before that, they brought out the little country singing kid.
Yep.
The little 5-year-old. And I think Diplo, and then actual Nas, like big Nas, non-X. And I thought it all worked really well. I thought it was like crazy. And I thought like that is the Grammys I want. Because I remember some Grammys where they just like pile on people all into one performance. And those are the ones I really like.
Yeah, it was a good performance. See, I think that you're bringing it up because you remember the last time you put out a YouTube video where you mentioned BTS. You're just trying to get that BTS money.
Oh, wow. If I'd have known I could get this much engagement just by saying their name, I'd have done it a long time ago. I absolutely would have.
Check out that best of video. He brings up BTS.
It brought me a lot of attention that I otherwise would not get. So, BTS is the greatest band of all time. And
they're very good. I don't want to. Anyway.
Okay, but yeah, I did enjoy yes, why don't we have Old Town Road with a bunch of Korean rapping on it?
It was fun.
Yeah.
A bunch of really, really attractive, talented Korean performers.
Yes.
They did a good job.
You said you had a different 1 and 2. What were your?
I think my number 1 is Lizzo.
Yes, our opener, Lizzo, who did 'Cause I Love You and Truth Hurts. You're a bigger Lizzo fan than most, and most of us are big Lizzo fans.
I think that she brings a certain energy and personality that I find to be truly rare. I think that she's a great performer. Because I Love You, she did a really exceptional performance of that. I think that Truth Hurts, it doesn't really matter if she turns in a perfect performance or not. I think that's all about the energy, which is absolutely there.
I heard some people complaining that the flute was out of tune. I really liked that flute solo.
That flute shit was dope.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that she had these big black ballerinas fucking out there. That was fucking amazing. Like, I don't know, man. Lizzo fucking rules. I feel like her performances are always good. I was watching and I realized that a person that, as somebody from the comic book world, I compare Lizzo to a guy named Peter David. Peter David is a very popular writer, both in both novels and comic books. And before that, he was a massive, massive like nerd, a huge fan, a guy that would write fan fiction and just is this. I find generally in his life has been a largely jubilant figure, a very celebratory figure. And I find Lizzo that she kind of occupies a very similar space, right? She comes out on stage, you could tell that she really loves being there, that she has a tremendous amount of respect for the other artists who are there, and that she just feels constantly grateful, and it just comes through. And so I always love her performances. And once again, I just thought, she knew how to respect Kobe Bryant. She knew how to respect that space that they were in, and she knew how to give a performance that everyone was going to enjoy. I just really love her. I think that she's a tremendous. I think that she is second to pretty much no one except apparently Billie Eilish, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, I really like the classical Truth Hurts that they played there.
Oh yeah, it was a really cool rendition, man. Like, I don't know, I loved that. I thought that was great. That was absolutely my number one, and then. Maybe it's because CBS, brought to you by CBS, All Access, was telling me that this was going to be a Grammy moment, but I thought that what Demi Lovato was a really good job. Demi Lovato has been through a lot in the past year, and her singing...
She was hospitalized a year and a half ago from an overdose. She has been very vocal about her struggles with drug addiction.
Yeah, she sang a song called Anyone... I really connected with it, and I imagine that is maybe not something that everyone's going to connect with, but just, I don't know. I looked at the year that she had, and I felt connections to the year that I had, and I've had health problems, and I've had emotional problems, and it really hit me pretty hard, and I felt, it was funny because we didn't really talk at all during that performance or talk about that performance, so I wasn't sure how you felt about it, but I immediately wrote down that it was one of my favorites, and it was the only one that came close to the Lizzo one for me.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Like the fact that she had to like restart, like she sang the first line and couldn't get it out, and she had to start over like that. I mean, I want to believe that was spontaneous. Like, you never know with these things, but
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm a sucker, but I believe that was genuine, and
it's something I always have to think about. But like I think it was genuine, and it was it gets you. It really does.
I felt a profound empathy with her. And I don't know, man, like I'm nobody, but I was proud that she was able to go out there and do that. And I hope that 2020 is a better year for Demi Lovato. I don't know. So that was it. Those were the two ones that really, really struck me. I like the two ones that you named too, though.
Yeah, and I like the two you named as well. Those are very Grammy performances, the both of them, even Lizzo and Demi. And the ones the two I picked were very un-Grammy performances. I mean, it's a little Grammy-ish in that they just kind of threw everyone at Lil Nas X, but it felt like I was watching something like that was going to freak out the squares, so to speak. So I was, that's what I was into. Any other big winners you think, is like who won the night, would you say?
Who won the night?
Oh, well,
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that.
Yeah, it was
Sharon Osbourne.
God bless her.
And DJ Khaled.
Who could even argue? Sharon Osbourne and DJ Khaled.
Amazing. Yes. Just amazing. In case you didn't watch the Grammys, somebody very wisely decided that Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy, who doesn't really talk much anymore, so Sharon did all the talking, would go up and talk about the rappers. And you're like... Sharon Osbourne doesn't fucking know jack shit about rappers.
She doesn't.
Not that she's, like, it's that delightfully racist aunt that you have where you're like, she doesn't know any better. She doesn't mean anything by it. She just doesn't care. And it's adorable. And she was very excited for those brown people that she doesn't recognize.
Yeah.
Just so pleased for them.
She's an old lady.
She's an old lady. And, that was very funny. No, obviously the winner of the night is Billie Eilish. I mean, that's unquestionable.
I tweeted this out just now, but it was like, who expected Billie Eilish to be the Adele of 2020? Like,
it's mind-blowing. I mean, Bad Guy is, some would argue, Song of the Year. Check out that Todd in the Shadows best of 2019.
BTS and Billie Eilish. I'm down with the children.
Yes. And meanwhile, I was like, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's the kids it's the children who are wrong. No, that song is great, but I was not expecting her to sweep to the degree that she swept, because she won Best Song, Best New Artist, Best Album, and Best Record.
Yeah, that's a
fucking lot. I couldn't tell you the last time that a Best New Artist, if this ever has happened, where a Best New Artist won all of those.
Won anything besides Best New Artist. Like Best New Artist is like
it was truly mind blowing, and it made me wonder, will Billie Eilish still exist in 2020? And then I was like, no, she will. I don't even know why I asked that question.
Best New Artist is like the best foreign language Oscar. Like it's like, or the best animated Oscar. It's like these go over here, and the adults will sit at the adults table. And Billie Eilish came in there as she's 18 now, and like 9 months ago, no one would have known her unless you were like only like the really hip kids in the know. And like by kids, I mean children in high school, like knew who she was. And now she is the biggest pop star in the world. And for the Grammys to go for that, the Grammys, I mean, she performed When the Party's Over, which is her most Grammy-ish song. So maybe that like paved the way for her for Grammy acceptance, or maybe the Grammys are just actually that hip, or maybe Billie Eilish is like a hip artist that unhip people can plausibly appropriate. I don't know.
She's fun. I like her.
Yeah.
That song, I would actually put that towards it's in the middle.
Yeah.
It's because it is solidly, it's the most boring thing she could have performed there. And I'll say this, if you liked that performance of When the Party's Over, the very first thing that I said to you, Todd, and the thing I'll say in the podcast now is you should listen to Cat Power. If you like that, you'll fucking love Cat Power. That is a Cat Power song through and fucking through.
I wonder how it feels to be like Lana Del Rey, who's finally nominated for something this year with like one of the most acclaimed albums of the year, and watching Billie Eilish, whose main, perhaps even only influence
is Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that she knows who Cat Power is. I'd be shocked if she didn't. But yeah, so I would say she's probably the big winner of the night. Do you have a different name in mind?
When we're talking about Billie Eilish sweeping, which is absolutely insane for the Grammys, like this is not the kind of artist they think. I would have picked Lizzo to come out with like a big armful of Grammys. And if this were any other year than the one where Billie Eilish got big, I would have predicted her to walk away.
Basically they gave her best solo pop performance, and that felt like the consolation prize because they had decided that they were going to give Billie Eilish everything else. They thought, well, we've got to give Lizzo fucking something.
Yeah. I can already kind of tell this is going to happen. Like there's been a lot of talk about how the Grammys disrespect hip hop. That's not going to get any better tonight. As much as, I love Billie Eilish and I wish I could spare her that, because the discourse is going to happen whether we like it or not. And, Billie Eilish is a very good artist. And I'm just happy when a very good artist wins something. I'm not looking for the best or, which one will check the box. But it would have been nice if Lizzo could have maybe grabbed one of the big four that she won. Because, obviously Lizzo is also great. And those are like the two artists of the year, it feels like. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if like Song of Record had gone to Old Town Road also, because it seems like...
Yeah, I also kind of felt like that was where that should have gone.
Like 2019 was a stacked year for music. So like the fact that Old Town Road, Billie Eilish, and Lizzo were all duking it out, and Lana Del Rey's big coming out ceremony, I guess, or what your debutante ball is like, yes, you are finally big enough to be recognized here. Like that's a lot in 1 year.
Yeah, man, Lana Del Rey, an artist who I remember I started hearing when I was probably in my mid-20s.
Yeah. And
I am almost 40 now. She has been around a long, long fucking time.
I think it's only been like 10 years for her, I think.
Maybe I caught like a weird recorded it in her studio apartment kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But like way back in the day, like way back. So I would have probably been about like maybe 27, 28.
Here's a funny thing. When they gave out Best New Artist, both of us, and we didn't talk about why we thought this, we both thought it was going to go to Rosalia.
We did.
Why did we think that? Because you didn't say that, and I didn't say that, and we don't listen to a lot of Spanish pop. Like I've been studying her more closely recently, but like when she performed at the VMA Awards last year, I didn't even know who she was, which I have been reliably informed now makes me like an ignorant moron who shouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
It feels like we're just out of touch. So like when I look at her, I think she should get it, right? So I guess I thought Best New Artist would go to her because she seems like a best new artist.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Like that's the one the who's hot now, maybe will be hot later, but maybe not. Versus Billie Eilish, who was in it for the long haul. It feels like who is obviously like gone past the need for a best new artist Grammy already.
Yeah, don't you want to give it to somebody who's probably not going to be around for more than the next 2 years?
I'm reliably informed that Rosalie is also in it for the long haul. But
look, we were wrong last time. We can be wrong again.
In her native Spain, at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She reads more as a best new artist than Billie Eilish does. Yeah, is all I'm saying. That's why I thought it would go to her.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, that's once again, no, it's the children who are wrong. I'm completely out of touch on that, apparently.
All right.
Which I accept.
Well, how about this? Who would you pick as a big loser of the night? Oof. Like performer or
lots of
like pop. It's hard to say. Is like we expected so and so to win and they lost. Well, what a loser! It's like no, we didn't expect anyone to win.
No, it's not like that. I would not be able to say something like that. I would say so many people that I would consider to be losers. Alicia Keys.
Oh yeah, oh boy.
I don't know what it is that people expect her to be. She's just, I don't know why they keep having her be host. Like, she's pleasant. I'm sure Alicia Keys is a big listener to the podcast, so I'm really sorry to say this to you, Alicia, but, maybe just, could you stick to the music?
Like, had she ever, I know she hosted the Grammys last year, and she did fine-ish. But
she just seems like she's pleasantly high on something designed to make it so that she's not stressed out on the evening. What was the thing that you said that somebody had tweeted or said to you, which is that she seems like a mildly stoned
youth pastor?
Yeah.
I think more like camp counselor, really. Like,
let
me say, there was a moment early in the ceremony. Well, her opening monologue was weirdly somber because of the Kobe thing. But then she got out there and she did one of the most painful things I have ever seen. Like, I couldn't be in the fucking room. Like, I was like cringing so hard, I left my seat. I went as far away from the TV as I could. That is like, she started doing a parody of Louis Capaldi's Someone You Loved. And it was, well, let's say she's no Billy Crystal. She's no Weird Al. It was the most horrifying and awkward thing. My freshman year of high school, my freshman orientation, we had a teacher who greeted us and like welcomed us to our new life in high school by doing a parody of All Star by Smash Mouth. And that is the energy that I got from Alicia Keys doing that this night. I feel like I'm getting like Nam flashbacks even talking about it. Oh my God, it was horrible. Also, there were like many technical flubs. She hit many wrong notes. She would like complained to like the sound people like while she was doing her monologue that like her piano was like dead in her microphone and was like, please correct this. It was
like a bad, not main stage Vegas performance. And speaking of bad performances that you could make a Vegas comparison to,
boy.
On our Vegas main stage,
yes.
Usher. I guess it was fine. I don't know. I guess Usher is not a loser on the night. It's just that he was doing a Prince tribute.
Yeah.
And it's just, Usher is Usher and Prince is Prince.
I think Usher is one of the great artists of my day. He did not deliver Prince that night. He delivered fine-ish, I guess, but it was like not really impressive. I don't know. It seems like he was like too old to be doing this. He's like not old enough to be a contemporary of Prince, so he's not like my friend and colleague Prince, but he was like too old to make it like updated.
Yeah, you either want to pick somebody who is...
I've never called Usher old.
Is it, a contemporary who's still got that passion?
Mm-hmm.
Or you pick somebody who's fucking hungry, man. He just didn't... It was low energy because it was low stakes.
I don't know if Usher is ever going to do another Prince tribute, but like he performed it like he's done it 100 times before and he's going to do it 100 times again.
Yeah, he did it like he was doing it on a Vegas stage, and he'll be doing it all. It's like
tip your servers.
I'll be here all week. Try the veal. You know, it just That's not good.
And you didn't even know this because you don't know who FKA Twigs is. She's like a hot new artist. She's very experimental R&B, I guess. And she was on stage that night, during the Prince performance, she was the dancer, but she didn't sing.
No.
And she just tweeted, there was like rumors flying around. It was like, well, she asked not to sing. And she just tweeted something like an hour ago. It was like, I would have loved to sing. They didn't ask me to, but I'm glad to do what I was asked to do. Why? It is so bizarre.
That is
it was
weird.
like it would have at least made it interesting, a very underwhelming performance. I don't get what that was about. It's just like we have to do a tribute to somebody every ceremony, even though Prince has died 4 years ago.
That is very weird. But is it as weird as Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani trying to find a musical middle ground between their two styles, which does not exist?
Apparently that song came out like 5 days ago. I hadn't heard it, and hopefully I will never hear it again. And it was placed very weirdly. Like, I think they needed like a slower, more somber song to play after the fucking Kobe tribute that opened the show.
After Alicia Keys came out with Boyz II Men to sing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday."
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yes, that was, you know what? I don't think history is going to judge me incorrectly by saying that was a fucking mistake. A mistake.
Like, I don't know how much would have been the appropriate amount of honor to give Kobe Bryant. But that felt like the wrong move.
But they were not ready to do that.
Yeah.
They just weren't. She didn't know how to sing it with them, so she kept missing where she was supposed to come. It was just like their hearts were in the right place, but man, they shouldn't have.
Boyz II Men singing, I can tell you two other instances I can tell you of Boyz II Men singing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday." One, as a joke on Fallon when Conan O'Brien left NBC and there was that big thing. He brought them in there to sing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye Yesterday." Also, because I'm a soccer fan, when U.S. soccer legend Landon Donovan played his last game, they also brought in Boyz II fucking Men for a U.S. soccer game. Let me be clear. The power's gone out of it for me since then.
Yeah, other things that I don't think particularly landed. I'm not sure that I would call this a loser, but a year ago, I was really interested in her.
Oh, as an H-E-R, her.
Yes, H-E-R, her. And now I think W-H-O, who is this? I watched her perform tonight, and I thought, this woman is a great session performer.
She did a pretty killer guitar solo.
At some point, she may put out a song that I really like, but it has not happened yet. She has not blown my mind, and you, I think, said something to the tune of, she seems like an artist who's created for the Grammys.
Yeah, I'm not sure who her constituency is outside of the Grammys. I don't know, like, she exists to get Grammys and be at the Grammys, but otherwise, I don't know who listens to her. Ditto for Gary Clark Jr., who I have seen 5 times at the Grammys, and no one has, nowhere else. I have never heard of.
And that kind of political performance really leaves me numb.
I don't know. I was kind of glad I don't mind the political stuff. And compared to the stuff Gary Clark has performed on this, it's certainly more memorable than the other performances I've seen from him. But I don't expect to see him again till next year at this time at the next Grammys.
Well, speaking of what could have been a great political performance and ended up just being the same old shit that it always is, Aerosmith. And Run DMC came out and eventually did Walk This Way, and they kept introducing it as though this had not been done a billion fucking times.
I remember them doing this at the 1999 MTV Video Music Awards. The 90s, the fucking 90s.
But
it is 2 decades later. There have been 2 decades in between then and now, and I've certainly seen them perform Walk This Way many times. I think including once in the past 5 years at the Grammys.
And speaking of Vegas, I believe Aerosmith is at Vegas, and I wouldn't be surprised if occasionally Run DMC doesn't roll in and do this with them.
I mean, I don't know what else they're doing. I mean, I know Reverend Run has his reverendship, but
before they came out and played that song, Aerosmith came out and played a song off of the album Get a Grip. Yeah, it is a song that I like a great deal. It's called Living on the Edge.
As far as the Grammys go, that qualifies as a deep cut.
It does. But I'll tell you, They got so close. Living on the Edge is a great song, but I'll tell you, if you want to be fucking political, the song that I think might actually follow Living on the Edge off of Get a Grip and is the song they should have fucking performed is called Eat the Rich. They should have played fucking Eat the Rich. If that had happened, I would have been on my feet. I love Living on the Edge, and that was very cool, and I do think it counts as a deep dive considering the space that they were playing in. But if they had played Eat the Rich, holy shit, that would have blown my goddamn mind.
Yeah, like their third most known song from their fifth most known album. Like, yeah.
I mean, guess I'm glad they didn't sing Crying or Amazing
or Crazy
or Crazy
or Crazy Maze of Crying.
Yes, they're all the same song.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I'm missing? What else is thoroughly middle ground territory? Ariana Grande.
Well, I'll tell you this: I would have performed all of Thank You Next and very little of Seven Rings.
You're goddamn right.
Or all of Imagine, which is a great song, and not as intro to Seven Rings. That's not how I would have done it. Yeah, just no Seven Rings. That's what I would have done. Camila Cabello sang to her father.
Oh, boy.
There are many weird father-to-daughter songs. This is the first weird daughter-to-father song I've heard. I wasn't a fan. She was doing her best.
Yes, I believe the song is called First Man.
As in the first man I ever loved, my dad.
Yeah,
Weird.
They could really play this song at Purity Balls.
Yeah.
It's a real Purity Ball song through and through. I don't want to be accused of being a Camila Cabello hater, but that song ain't it.
I've never been like super negative on her, but I always have been negative on her. Like mostly she hits kind of a 4 out of 10 for me, sometimes lower and not really ever higher. Up to a 5 sometimes, but
that song is the kind of wholesome that's so wholesome that it seems strangely perverse.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say about it than that. If you like it, I'm not here to tell you you can't. It made me feel very, very uncomfortable inside of my own flesh.
Yeah. One other thing, when I mentioned the ramshackleness of the Grammys, we talked about the presenters getting the names wrong, DJ Khaled, but also Camila Cabello, which made me laugh. It's making me laugh now.
Oh, I said it too. Well, I've been drinking.
No, you've said Camila, right? Correctly?
Oh, did I? Good. Let's pretend that's true. Sure, yeah. I said it right.
Yeah,
Camila Cabello.
Yeah, Paul, please delete anytime he said Camila if he said it. So
I probably did.
Yeah, we're kidding, Paul. Don't just leave it in. Let him be humiliated.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. They spelled Rick Ocasek's name wrong during the In Memoriams. And
yes, I was going to say the true loser of the night was how awful, basic, and just nothing burger the In Memoriam was.
Oh yeah, like the dead people who died in 2019 got like they lost their lives obviously, but they also lost tonight. But
so much worse than that.
Yes, that was the most half-assed In Memoriam segment. Like just like a few moments earlier, Bonnie Raitt was singing Angel from Montgomery, and I thought, it was like, this has got to be the lead into the In Memoriams. But no, they just like slapped it on there. It was pretty terrible. It looked so cheap. It looked so badly done. And, I'm sure people will talk about who got snubbed from the In Memoriam segment later. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I saw people talking about it, but I don't know. And also the awards themselves, they gave out 9 awards. It seems like they give out less every year. Actually, 9 awards might be more than they gave last year, but one of them was for Best Comedy Album, which is not a music award. They gave it to Dave Chappelle, who wasn't there. So Tanya Tucker, bless her heart, and also I want to say Tanya Tucker, I liked her performance also.
Oh yeah, Tanya Tucker with Brandi Carlile, who I fucking love.
Yeah, that she had a good performance, but like right before that, right after that, she had to accept award on Dave Chappelle's behalf. That was so weird. It was like, why did they give out the Best Comedy Award? Why that one? Like, it seems like they pick these awards like Best Pop Solo Performance, Best Country Duo or Group Performance. I don't get how they pick those. I think maybe they were picking the ones based on who they thought was going to be there, and maybe like Dave Chappelle backed out at the last moment, or who knows? Who knows?
And also they made a point of did you write down the name of the guy who they they sort of Lifetime Achievement Awards, who is I guess is kind of in the background handling a lot of the production of stuff that's happening behind.
I think they said his name was Ken something, but
But they gave him a whole performance of the last song from Fame.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, Camilla was there and Cyndi Lauper was there.
Cyndi Lauper just walked out on stage for a couple of bars and was like, "Purse." No, I knew she was coming.
Okay.
She was listed on the Grammys website, and I kept going, "Where is she?" I had no idea that she was going to walk on, literally just sing like a couple of bars and then leave.
Yeah. One other thing, like, I guess I liked the Nipsey Hussle tribute.
Oh yeah,
but it was weird because Nipsey Hussle seems like a little off the radar of the Grammys. Like this isn't Prince, so I was like kind of surprised that they gave him. I mean, I know he was very beloved. He's a peacemaker in L.A. He's an anti-gang violence activist and all that. And to his fan base and the people in the hip hop community, but they seemed a little off the radar of the Grammys, who are out of touch with all this stuff. And then I heard the song. I was like, oh right, this is the DJ Khaled song from that last album that was basically made to be performed at the Grammys. That it's like, yeah, I think DJ Khaled set this up.
I believe that you mean DJ Khaled.
Yeah, excuse me. DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled. we the best music. And I think we've covered everything.
We sure have. Boy, we really talked it through. Let me tell you something. We're coming in at about 45 minutes. We've just saved you however much time. How much with the remainder would have been?
3.5 hours. And at least
we've saved you almost 3 hours, I promise you.
8 performances, every year are gonna suck. So
we did it. I'm so weary.
So am I.
Very rarely is song versus song work. This was work. And with that in mind, let me say a couple of things. First of all, thank you for listening to this episode.
Yes.
We're very grateful for every episode that you listen to, but listening to this particular episode where we had to really put on our big boy pants and do a thing that we desperately did not want to do, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Second of all, there are a number of ways that you can now, with that in mind, support the podcast, most of which cost you absolutely nothing at all. Things that cost you $0 to do to support the podcast. Number one, you can go onto iTunes and give us 5 stars. Number two, you can write down a review and give 5 stars. That helps out an enormous deal. And of course, whenever people go on Reddit or Twitter or any form of social media and say, give me recommendations for podcasts to listen to, if you recommend Song versus Song as something that people should check out, that is probably the greatest thing on earth that you can possibly do for us. That being said, you want to give us some money. There is also a way to do that. We have a Patreon. You go to Patreon. It's $1 as a minimum. You don't have to give any more than that. But if you want to give more, you certainly can, especially when we're doing stuff with the Grammys.
Yeah.
And in return, you get a bonus episode when we talk about a movie musical. We do it every single month. And if you want to do that, especially I would say if ever there were a month to think about throwing just $1, even if you only do it for 1 month, it would be the month in which we have to cover the Grammys.
I mean, we're putting in less than minimum wage on this one. Please toss $1 to your Witcher here, please. Like,
oh gosh. I was going to make a reference to the one specific guy that's always on the train in Queens, but no one will get it except for other people that are on the N or W train in Astoria. If anybody's listening to this podcast and takes that train, you know the guy who's talking about his basketball team who's like, you already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If you can give me a dollar or a quarter or a penny, and even if you can't, give me a smile. So you know what? In the spirit of that, even if you have no money they can give us, just give us a smile.
Yep.
That sounds creepy. I take it back.
Yeah. Also, what are you talking about? I ride that train all the time. I have no clue what you're talking about.
You're out of touch with reality, friend.
I mean, I am always wearing my headphones. So.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya. All right. Thank you for listening to all that, everyone. I'm going to play Build Me Up Buttercup. Good enough.